Hey guys, happy Halloween, or should I say scary Halloween, because it's meant to be frightening. I don't know why people say it's happy. This is FatherStack's Rambling Reviews, and today I am talking about Dellamorte Dellamore, or The Symmetry Man as it's known in America, because it's direct and to the point. I prefer the title Dellamorte Dellamore, which I'll go into in more detail towards the end of the review. Now, I'll have to apologise for any noise you might hear outside, because it is Halloween and we do have geysers outside, or as you guys would know them as trick-or-treaters. Hopefully they won't get in the way of what I'm trying to say here. This is a horror film with a sense of humour. It's Italian. It's directed by a guy called Michele Soavi. He is an actor and a director. He is known for directing films such as The Church, The Sect, and a favourite slasher of mine called Stage Fright, which I'll probably do a review of in the future. It starts off with a guy called Francesco Dellamorte, and as he explains, it means "of death," which he doesn't. He sees the irony of this, as he is an undertaker of sorts. He buries the dead, and he notices like an epidemic, as he calls it. Quiet, children! He notices an epidemic of sorts where the dead are coming to life after roughly 7 days of being buried. He calls these people returners. These people, he says, can only be killed by splitting their heads open. So every time one comes to life, he splits his head open with like an axe or whatever he finds. I'm going to put this Blu-ray down now because my arm's kind of hurting. And he's with his assistant Nagi. His name's Nagi, Gnaghi, and he just goes no. He just says the one word all the time. He can't say anything else. But Francesco seems to understand him. Francesco spends his time in between burying the dead and killing them. He spends his time reading the phone book and crossing off the names of all the people that have died. Remember, this is the 90s. For those who were born after maybe 2005, a phone book is a directory where everyone's name was written down along with their phone number and address, long before the days of mobile phones. He also spends time with a skull, like a puzzle skull, which he tries to piece together with the teeth. He can't quite get it right. He claims it's impossible. Just my heart. He claims it's impossible. It's going to be hard to go into this film without spoilers, so consider yourself warned now. Spoilers are going on, and I'll put a timestamp thing, time code here to tell you when to skip to my final thoughts and all the rest of it, because the rest of it's going to be spoiler heavy. He meets a young woman who he claims is the most beautiful living woman he's ever seen. Oh my god, these kids outside are doing my head in. That's when the window's closed. He meets a woman who he calls the most beautiful living woman he's ever seen. She has no interest in him for the most part, especially after their first meeting, where he goes to water our dad's flowers. She goes, "It's my husband." So he gets a little bit embarrassed. He tries chatting her up, he tries flirting with her, and she doesn't have much interest until he mentions that he has an ossuary, which is a place where they keep old bones and stuff, which she falls in love with. So they have a little moment, and then they end up having sex on his next to her husband's grave. So the husband ends up coming to life and biting this woman. He never finds out her name. Ends up biting this woman, and Francesco automatically ends up shooting her. end up killing him and shooting her. And as he's waiting for her to come back to life, he ends up killing her again, which kind of backfires when she comes back again, because it turns out he didn't actually kill her the first time, and then when she comes back as a returner, he ends up having to put an axe in her skull. It ends up he's got a big statue of death in the graveyard, which ends up speaking to him and asks him why he keeps on killing all the dead when they return, and why doesn't he kill the living. And after thinking about it, I should mention he's constantly mocked throughout the town. There's a bunch of guys, they mock him for being impotent, amongst a lot of things, because he's dressed in black and he walks through the streets with his retarded assistant, and he gets the idea, you know, what if I start killing living people and just, I've got the perfect place to bury them. He also tries to meet with the local mayor in order to try and get this epidemic kind of under wraps. The mayor's daughter ends up dying in a bus crash, which is quite a gory scene, and everybody in the bus ends up getting buried in his graveyard and coming to life. And yeah, the mayor starts taking notice. He ends up killing the people that mocked him. He ends up getting investigated by this detective who he seems to think it's more of his assistant rather than him. He also ends up, he gets a lust for love almost. He meets another girl who's also played by, I didn't realise that after I'd finished these, she's played by the same woman as the widow at the beginning of the film. It's played by the same actress, who's, by the way, beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. And I, all the way through it, I thought, how did they manage to cast such a beautiful woman? It turns out it's the same woman who he meets multiple times. There's one of the women he meets is, again, kind of falls for him, as she's the mayor's assistant, ends up falling for him. And she's too afraid to have sex with him. So she asks if the rumours are true about him, about this, the impotent rumours. And he goes, yeah, they're all true, because everybody in this town knows about it. These rumours. It's like, it's such a small town that the word's got around, and you know, he's the weird guy who's impotent. And so he ends up going to a doctor. He ends up going to a doctor who also knows these rumours. So he has to actually take down his trousers to prove to the doctor that yes, he has a penis and it is working. So he says, look, just cut it off. Please, just cut it off. But the doctor's got all these tools, getting ready to do it, and he can't bring himself to do it. He says, what I'll do is I'll inject this stuff into you, and that'll stop you from getting it up for about a month. So he goes, okay. So he ends up meeting the girl, and then she makes a confession to him that she's eventually had sex, although she says it she doesn't say she's had sex, but she says she's not afraid to be penetrated anymore after being raped by the mayor. She says at first it was, which is, I found it was quite a shocking scene. She says that she was appalled, and then that she began to enjoy it to the point where she wants to marry him now. So she goes to marry the mayor. He then meets a bunch of who I thought were prostitutes. I don't know. He falls in love with the prostitute. Because that's the thing about this the Dellamorte Dellamore is, you know, of love, of death, of love. Because that's very much what it is about. He falls in love with these with this. Again, another what I thought was a prostitute, and he, just before he said, I should warn you, he says, I might not be able to perform very well, he says, because I've been taking drugs. When they take all the clothes off, she says, I don't think your medication's working. then he ends up killing them and burning them. Because I don't know, he's just got this obsession for killing people now. I don't understand, but he ends up burning them, killing them, and then he hears that his friend who works at I don't know what was he actually worked at. He seemed to be like a clerk, like filing papers and stuff. And he's Franco. He claims to be his best friend, and then he hears through the grapevine that this Franco guy, his best friend, has taken the rap for all these murders that Francesco's been committing, and he also killed his wife and then tried to kill himself. So this leaves him confused. Then, as everything wraps up, Francesco and Nagi end up driving down. They end up just trying to forget everything, drive down this road, and they end at a cliff, and they find out that the world stops there after going through this tunnel. They end up at this cliff where it starts snowing, and yeah, it ends in like a snow as them in a snow globe, which is weird. I don't quite get the ending, but I'll go into my little facts and that. They're a little bit jumbled, but this also has my pros and cons of the film. At the beginning of the film, there's a shot of the cemetery, and it looks beautiful. It's an amazing, beautiful shot. It's lit amazingly well, and right away I was like, this is a good looking film. Yeah, the killing of the first returner is also really good. It kind of lets you know what the tone of the film is, what you're in for. I really like that. I've already mentioned that Francesco Dellamorte means Francis of Death. What he also mentions to, I think it's one of the girls he's going out with, is that there's another kind of weird fact to him, is that his mother's maiden name was Dellamore. So that plays a lot into the title of the movie, which yeah, I found. Which he sees that early enough. He goes, yeah, my name's Dellamorte. He says, and my mother's maiden name is Dellamore. Which I like that title. It makes more sense in the film than Cemetery Man. Cemetery Man is it's just too obvious. But I can understand why they've done it for American audiences. They probably wouldn't want to see a film that's got a foreign title. There's some really funny lines in this. There's one really because he's concerned about the returners who are coming back after 7 days. So when he sees the widow for the first time, he says to her, how long have you been dead for? She says 13 days. Yeah, 2 weeks, she says. He goes, thank goodness. She goes, excuse me? He goes, oh, never mind, because he's thankful that she's been dead for over 7 days, yet he still returns. There's a weird there's this kind of weird awkward kiss scene when they first go into the ossuary, where the widow puts his veil over him and they kiss through the veils, and it's really unusual, and the lighting in that scene is amazing, because in the ossuary, when the door's closed, it's just got like a cross. It's just got this cross, and you see the light shining right through it, and it looks beautiful. It's such a beautifully shot film. And there's a scene when they're having sex, and you see what are called ignis fatuus, which are known as will-o'-the-wisps. That's quite a nice scene. You only see them once in the film, but it just gave a nice little. I think in like folklore, it is some kind of spirit, but I don't quite know. But it looked really nice. I don't know how they done that effect, but it was a beautiful shot scene. The music in this film is extraordinary. It is some of the best music I've heard in a film in quite a while. It actually gets stuck in your head. You hear the music in your head after watching it. He claims to be illiterate. He says that there's only 2 books he's ever read. He says one of them he didn't finish, the other one's a phone book. I do find quite funny. Yeah, there's a part where he's taking a shower, and I think he thinks the returners are after him, and you just see the shadow of the guy going like that. I was like, that's from Nosferatu. That's from the original 1922 Nosferatu. That's one of my favourite films. It's like, I love that reference. That was brilliant. Yeah, there's when he's killing a lot of the zombies, when he's shooting them in the head and that. There's one of them that makes this really weird chattering sound all the time. I can't even imitate it. It's just such a weird sound, but it fit the zombie perfectly. Sorry, returner. I shouldn't say zombie. This isn't. They're not zombies. They're returners. There are some really gruesome effects in this, especially. I wouldn't say it's a violent film, but there are some gruesome effects in it, especially during the bus scene, which I'll go into a little bit more towards the end. It's quite funny when the zombies are attacking. Nagy has his headphones on and he's watching TV eating spaghetti. It's kind of funny thing with Italian films where they often do eat a lot of pasta and spaghetti and stuff. I've noticed that in films before. Well, he's trying to shout on Nagy. He's like, Nagy! He says, help me, but he can't hear a thing because he's got his headphones on. The only way he can distract him is by smashing his TV, which just blows up, which is a really funny scene. There's a liked motif or in this film where they keep on repeating this tune. I think it's the beginning of Ring of Fire. You know, I can't hum tunes. I've been told I'm tone deaf, so if that sounded nothing like Ring of Fire, understandable. There's a part, because he's so used to the darkness in that, he goes outside with the detective at one point where it's bright blue sky. He's walking, he goes, oh, it's bad weather here. I find that really funny. There's not a cloud outside, he just goes, oh, it's bad weather today. The needle in the dick scene, that's just painful. I've watched that scene as one of the most comfortable experiences I've had watching a movie in a long time. It was a really intense scene. It's really, really well done. There's a scene where talking of like the way this film's shot and that, there's a scene where one of the girls he's going out with, the one that's afraid of penetration, she's telling him about her feelings for him and how she's now enjoying sex. Where she just tells him this by walking around him and the camera's following her. He's standing still, she's moving around and the camera's moving around with her, and I think that was to kind of almost symbolise his confusion. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, maybe it's just a cool camera shot, but I thought that kind of her giving him all this information that he doesn't want to hear, I think that the spinning symbolised his confusion. There's some shots of him where he's in the car and he's smoking away and he's looking all grizzled and that. I was like, was he the inspiration for Bernard Black from the sitcom Black Books? I don't know if any American viewers know of Black Books, but Dylan Moran plays Bernard Black, and I was wondering if they'd seen this film. I kind of hope they did. Yeah, there's a scene after he kills when he has sex with one of the girls in the hotel room, the one that says your medication isn't working. He ends up having sex with her in her bed. They're all panting, and he goes to have sex with her again. She goes, "You want to go again? You've already came 3 times." He goes, "Nah, twice. I faked the 3rd time." I thought that was really, really funny. That was so funny. It's like, it's the exact thing that you expect the woman to say. I found that really, really funny. There's a scene where they mention euros. It's when he's with the prostitutes. Again, I don't know if they're prostitutes. I'll have to watch it again. I assumed they were prostitutes. Well, they're talking about euros. I thought, euros in Italy in 1984? Was that a re-recording? Was that done just for the re-release of the Blu-ray? I don't know. Yeah, there's a scene after when he burns the little room down with the women in it. He goes and sits in his car and you see the fire reflected in his windscreen, and that is it's such a cool shot. I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved that shot. Yeah, I've written down here, does Francesco's frequent smoking symbolise him slowly killing himself? Because the whole film's about death and love. I was just wondering if him smoking kind of symbolises him killing himself and maybe one day, you know, being buried early. Maybe looking too much into it, but I don't know. Yeah, there's a scene where when he visits his best friend in the hospital after he's tried to kill himself, and he shoots. The nun comes in to check on him, and he shoots the nun, and then a guy, one of the doctors walked in, goes, "Sister," he goes, what are you doing on the floor, sister?" And Francesco says, "She's praying." And another guy walks in and goes, "Oh my God, what happened?" He goes, "They killed each other." And he kills the third person. One of my favourite parts of this film was the detective guy, who he's the complete opposite of every single detective in every single film, because he is you know the way in like a lot of cop films or just a lot of films in general, you get the suspicious cop. He's the opposite, because he's completely not suspicious of him. He does everything he could not to believe him, even when the evidence is pointing him right in the face. Especially in the scene in the hospital where he's killed the 3 people and he's running out with a gun in his hand. He goes, "Oh my God," he says something like, "Oh my God," he goes, there's a madman going about killing people, there's blood everywhere. "I'm glad to see you've got a gun to protect yourself." He said, "It was me. That was really, really funny. Honestly, all the way through the film when he's in it, he does everything. You'd think he's a stereotypical detective, but he does everything he could to not believe him. I don't know if it's because he finds Francesco so likeable, but that was really, really funny. Yeah, I noticed that it seems like a completely different film once Death starts talking to Francesco. That's when it stops becoming a zombie film, and he starts killing people, which I really liked. I really liked that. And then there's a scene towards the end where, as he's driving, all the way through it, he kind of understands what Nagi's saying, but he starts responding to Nagi when he doesn't say anything. So it made me wonder whether he actually understood Nagi or not. So, Now, I'm going to give my pros and cons of this film. Most of them I've kind of already mentioned, but this is my official pros and cons. Cinematography is amazing. It is so good. It's a beautiful looking film. It's beautifully shot. Yeah, it's really impressive. The music in this film, again, beautiful, really haunting at times. Brilliant, absolutely fantastic. Rupert Everett as Francesco, again, brilliant in it. He's really well cast. He's also based upon an Italian comic book called Dylan Dog, and Dylan Dog was actually based upon Rupert Everett. So when they cast, he was also really popular in Italy for that reason. So when they went to cast Dellamorte Dellamore, the first casting choice was obviously Rupert Everett. So they wanted to contact his agent and ask if he would want to do this film. Obviously he agreed, and I'm fucking glad that he's brilliant in this film. I can't imagine this being anybody else in it. The effects are really gory at times. It's not an overly gory film, but when the gore's there, it is, especially the bus scene. You see the bus going over, and over somebody's head, and the head kind of. You see you get your skull smashes and that when he's hammering their heads. Really good. The acting's excellent. The direction is excellent. I can hardly fault this film. It's paced brilliantly. Now on to the cons. If I had to go on about cons, I really struggled to find a con in this film. But if I had to pick one, I would say the ending. I felt a little bit flat. I was a little bit disappointed with the ending, but the rest of the film is so good that didn't matter. I didn't care. I loved this film. It's one of the most entertaining films I've seen in a long time. I'm just trying to think if I've forgotten anything. I don't think I have. When I say it's like a comedy with a sense of humour, I say that it's a very British sense of humour, which is kind of strange because I don't mind Italian humour, but it sometimes doesn't translate very well into English. This seems like a very British humour. If I was told this was written by maybe members of Monty Python or something, I would totally believe it. It's not that kind of humour, but I mean, it's a very sarcastic kind of humour. It might not be that obvious, and I also think it's a kind of humour that appeals more to more British people than it would to American people. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. Because, but some British humour, a lot of Americans like that kind of thing. I, obviously being a British person, love that kind of thing, so it works for me. Yeah, it's I've not enjoyed myself watching a film in a long time like that. It's not like a Shaun of the Dead type film. It's not, that kind of comedy. It's more, not I wouldn't say subtle, but it's, like I say, it's more kind of sarcastic. It's all on what they say rather than what they do. Yeah, I absolutely love this film. Grading it, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. I'd give it a 9.5 out of 10 if the ending was a little bit more satisfactory, but especially when it comes to cult films. I'm a big cult film fan, I really am, but like with The Initiation that I done, my first review that I started here, that's a cult film, and I disliked that. Not because it was a cult film, but because I didn't quite see why it was a cult film. Whereas this, I completely understand. And I would recommend this to anyone that just wants an absolute blast of a film. Also, with this cover here, right? This is a reversible cover. If I actually used the cover that I usually have it as, this video would probably be banned. And my account would probably be shut down on YouTube. But you can probably see it there. There it is. In that little red square there. Yeah, that's what I usually have on it. Yeah. If you've seen this film, let me know what you think of it in the comments. If you have any other recommendations, again, leave them in the comments. Let me know what you think of this. These videos I do, and yeah, I'll catch you next time, and have a nice Halloween. See you later, guys.